What if the loudest voice in rock suddenly went quiet? What if the wildest man on stage couldn't even stand? Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness, once ruled the world with chaos, music, and his queen, Sharon, by his side. But now, the stage is silent, the fire is fading, and Sharon is holding on to a love that's slowly slipping away. This isn't just about music. This is a final goodbye nobody was ready for. Stay tuned because it's all about to unfold. The rock royalty love story, there was chaos, love, and a woman named Sharon before the wheel chase, sadness, and goodbye. And in the middle of it all, everyone called Ozzy Osbourne the Prince of Darkness. But Ozzy wasn't always famous. Most people thought he was done after Black Sabbath fired him in 1979. It's done. Washed. But Sharon stepped in, and everything changed. She was more than just a girlfriend. She was his manager, his boss, and soon after, his wife. She took his broken career and threw it back at the world like fireballs. Sharon was the one with the leash, while Ozzy was a wild one. Tight. They were more than just a couple. They worked like machines. Sharon made plans for the shows. The girl chose the band. She was in charge of the money. She ensured the light stayed on while Ozzy screamed into the mics and broke the rules. She was iron if he was metal. When he screamed, she got stronger. Then the cameras showed up. At the start of the 2000s, their house became a movie set. The Osbournes were a huge hit on TV. People who watched couldn't believe what they saw. There was chaos everywhere. Ozzy rambling in the holes, Sharon throwing hams over the fence, dogs barking, kids yelling, and so on. But lots of people liked it since it was true, and natural, and really messy. Nobody thought the love story would turn out the way it did. Not soft or sweet, but more like a go-kart without brakes. It did work, though they didn't act fake, so it worked. Sharon didn't hide how bad things were. She got it done. She was like a general in stilettos when she ran their house, their business, and Ozzy's whole company. A lot of people laughed. There was cheering. But behind the scenes, there were fights, trips to the hospital, slip-ups, and tears. Sharon didn't leave. Not when Ozzy did something wrong. Not when he went downhill. Not even when things were dangerous. She stayed. All the time. It wasn't flowers and dinner dates that brought them together. It was made with substances, fame, lawsuits, blood, and rehab. Both of them were trying to stay alive. They fought the press, the world, and their own worst fears. But they stayed together like a chain. If you break one, you break both. They ruled for years. Sharon ruled from behind the scenes while Ozzy roared on stage. They built a brand that was so well-known that it didn't need to be explained. You saw Sharon and thought it was Ozzy. You thought it was Sharon when you heard Ozzy. They were that close. But all that glitz, it will not last forever. Now it's all beginning to break. There were no more red carpets. The trips were over. The house became less noisy. Because the man who used to walk across stadiums can't even walk now. The same woman who used to be in charge of all of his money is now helping him get out of bed and counting his pills. That kingdom, that crazy, loud, crazy hot kingdom they built together, from wild stages to hospital beds, Ozzy Osbourne's health is crumbling. But Sharon's shocking confession just flipped everything we thought we knew on its head. Ozzy's tragic health battle, strangely enough. Things began to move more slowly than anyone had thought. Not because Ozzy aged, but because something else, something much bigger than age, had crept in. The world learnt what Sharon and Ozzy had been hiding for years in 2020. Has Parkinson's. Not a story, not a thought, a real report. But that wasn't where it began. Before the signs showed up. In 2019, Ozzy hurt himself when he fell at home. One slip. That was all it took. He didn't just fall, though. It messed up the metal plates in his spine that were there from an ATV accident in 2003. For years, pins and screws had kept his body together. What about that fall? It threw them off. It hurt a lot. There was real damage, and things got worse after that. He had to have surgery. Then another one. Then more. He wasn't able to bounce back like he used to. Everyone thought he was just taking a break, but he was really healing in quiet. He was hurt, broken, and slowly shutting down. Another blow came at the same time as all of this. COVID. There was a bug that almost destroyed everything. It hit Ozzy when his body was already weak. Sharon said it nearly took his life. Other people were worried about coughs and fevers, but Ozzy was having a hard time breathing. But Parkinson's was a real storm. In the background, it was quiet and sneaky. It got loud after that. It made him lose his balance. He could not move because of it. He could no longer move his legs the way they used to. It got hard to walk. After that, it was impossible to walk. Sharon made it very clear. He can't walk anymore. He used to jump into crowds, stomp around on stage, and scream into speakers. Now he's sitting in a chair because he can't stand up without help. His body is now slow and still after being wild and fast before. This isn't a bruise that gets better over time. Parkinson's disease doesn't go away. Every year it gets stronger, goes deeper, and takes more. Ozzy can move around a little sometimes. He can't move at all some days. It changes all the time. There isn't any trend, not a warning. He once said that his legs feel like they are tied down with bricks. Heavy, no use, as if they were never a part of him. But his mind is still there, even though his body is getting weaker. He is very aware of what is going on. That's one reason why it's so hard. He can see it. He knows it. He can remember what he was. He can still remember the noise, the lights, and the crowd. Now, he just sits still most days and thinks about those times. He often talks about how to stay alive. That's not at all how people on magazine covers act, but in a real, honest way. He says that living is his legacy, that you never give up on something you love. You figure it out. But what happens when the biggest body can't support a famous voice? That's a question no one wants to ask, since it's not about reunion shows or hidden albums anymore. The goal is to keep him relaxed. It's about getting through the day. Sharon is aware of this. She's not making plans for the next big thing. She is looking at him breathe. He is being held still by her. She doesn't want time to happen too quickly. Sharon sees a real Ozzy now, while everyone else remembers a crazy one who screamed and laughed on stage. Peaceful. Still. Quite worn out. The story doesn't end here, though, because Ozzy is making plans right now. Big thing. Something lost. Sharon's emotional burden, Sharon Osbourne, was everywhere once upon a time. Everywhere she goes, on stage, behind the scenes, in talks, and on TV, she works, watches, and builds something. She wasn't just married to Ozzy. She was his partner, his boss, and his guardian. But now, things look different now, because she's no longer standing next to a stage. She's sitting next to a hospital bed. Everything changed after Ozzy was told what was wrong. Sharon stopped being the boss behind his business. She became the woman he held all night. She stopped planning his shows and started planning when he would take his medicines. Instead of going to meetings, she helped him get ready in the morning. It wasn't a loud shift. It did not have cameras. It took place right now, in peace, completely. It has not been easy. She has talked about it in small talks. Her voice got softer and slower. Not the brave and fiery Sharon that people knew and loved. She said that she doesn't get much sleep. A lot of the time. She worries. Some nights. She does nothing but watch him breathe. She stays close some days when she doesn't know how to help. Right now, she's not following a plan. No pass for backstage. It was just her and Ozzy, and neither of them had planned for it to happen. She tries to be strong in public, though. Stay calm. Always in order. She smiles when she talks to fans. The news she gives sounds good. But behind that calm voice is a woman who is trying not to cry. The man who used to be able to jump over stages can't even walk from one room to the next anymore. And she's the one moving him step by step, inch by inch. Everyone remembers something she said. That Ozzy is still there. There is still a spark. But it's like seeing your cat get put in a cage. That's how it seems. It's like a huge, strong thing is stuck inside a body that won't listen any longer. So does Sharon's body, just like Ozzy's. She does not appear on as many shows. She doesn't walk the red carpet. That girl doesn't laugh or talk as much. She's giving up the big moments and the attention. Slowly, kindly, in peace. She's not saying she's leaving her job. It's not something she says out loud. But everyone can sense it. She's moving back. To be there for him, she has chosen to be unseen. That could be the real goodbye that no one saw coming. Because while everyone is thinking about Ozzy and what is lost, going through, and saying goodbye to, someone else is saying goodbye right next to him. It's not loud. It's not on stage. In the dark, when she wipes his face, fixes his blanket, or holds his arm to help him balance, it's happening in the background. The woman who used to run his whole career is now keeping it in check. She is no longer building. She's giving up, as in cameras, about contracts, about the business she built herself. She does it without saying anything. But let's talk about something that no one else is. This isn't just Ozzy's goodbye. It's also hers. You haven't heard what they have planned next if you think that's the end of the story. Since the Osbournes aren't going away just yet, one more night is left. One more step. One more thing that everyone has been waiting for. It's taking place where it all started. Ozzy can't walk, Sharon stepping back, but a final plan is unfolding. What they've been hiding will shock you. Are you ready for the truth? From Prince of Darkness to fragile fighter, people used to say that Ozzy Osbourne didn't just walk onto stages. He charged them. He scared everyone by biting off the head of a bat in front of a screaming crowd. He caused chaos at every live show. That wasn't just how he dressed. That was who he was. They had black eyeliner, screams that could shake stadiums, and wild movements that made them look more like animals than people. That was Ozzy. That was the Dark Prince. But now, he's not moving that way anymore. He can't. The man who used to jump over speakers is now just sitting there because his body is too stiff to move. It takes longer for the same voice to rise that used to tear through arenas. Parkinson's disease didn't make a lot of noise. It crept up on him slowly and gently, taking away his strength, energy, and balance one thing at a time. It has now taken away his ability to walk. People remember Ozzy who didn't follow the rules. It's not like that, though, behind the scenes. He is not going to band practice today. Instead, he is going to physical therapy. Instead of going to different places, he's being helped to move from room to room. There are no loud crowds. There's only quiet and struggle. It's no longer about rock and roll. The idea is for him to keep his hands steady and stretch his legs. People still talk about the TV shows, the bat, the yelling. But today's Ozzy is not loud, not as fast. Sharon hid the truth for a very long time. Not to trick people, but to keep him safe. People should remember him for who he was, not how he looked in a hospital gown. She did fewer interviews, turned down job offers, and stayed out of the spotlight. She didn't say much when she did. Easy. Be careful. Things got worse after that. It didn't feel right to hide it anymore. That's when they finally chose to let go. They talk about what was found. The falls. The surgery. The hurt. Sharon made it clear. We were sure we could handle it. We had no idea Parkinson's could be so mean. That phrase really hit me. It proved how bad this fight really is. They weren't just having bad days. It was like living in a whole new world. Ozzy isn't as loud and flashy as he used to be. He is not stomping on the stage or making a mess in hotel rooms. He is sitting in a chair and concentrating on every move. He wants one more good day. He's still fighting, though he's still not quit. Even though his body is getting slower, he is still very much present in any room. The lightning is still there, but it's not as loud now. It's hard to shake the picture. The man who used to wear black and yell into the night is now being helped to his seat and getting used to a life that is quiet. Sharon used to help him release albums at Set Records, and now she helps him adjust his pillows and keep track of his medicines. It's not just a change. Everything has changed. But now comes a part that no one saw coming. Ozzy is still going, because something is coming, even though it hurts and is quiet. Something that might make everything different. One last night. One last crowd. The Prince of Darkness still has one more show to put on. It's not just a show. It's a farewell you'll never forget. Ozzy's last performance. This is the most important thing Ozzy Osbourne has done in decades. The scene is set, the date is set, and the moment is big. As of July 5, TWP 1025, Ozzy will play his last show in Birmingham, the city that raised him. They are calling it Back to the Beginning, because that's exactly what it is, a moment of coming full circle, going back to the beginning to say goodbye. This isn't just another rock show. This is real-time history being made. Even stranger, the original Black Sabbath band will be there, making the whole thing even stranger. Tony Iommi, Ozzy, Geezer Butler, and Bill Ward. They are getting back together after all the years of stress, bad blood, and breaks. For one night, one show, saying goodbye. This was not expected to happen. A lot of people thought it was not possible. It's real, though, even though everything says it's not. Birmingham is more than just a background. It's a sign. It's where Ozzy walked as a teen, where he got into trouble, and where he thought of bigger things. This concert isn't just happening in any place. This is a man going back to the beginning of his chaos to close the book on the story that made him famous. It's not going to look like the other shows.